You didn't charge your phone? Seriously?
Jacob asked, not turning around to face Laura. He kept focused on the trail ahead of him. Laura climbed up the ledge, seeing Jacob keeping his head on a swivel, searching the forest in front of him.
Well, if you had told me we would have been out here for a few hours, maybe I could have prepared for it.
Jacob turned to face her.
I'm sorry. I was trying.
Trying to be adventurous? It's fine. I like it, but yeah, this is the reason we plan these things.
Jacob gave her a half smile and shrugged slightly, trying to lighten the situation.
I think we're getting close. I remember seeing this cluster of trees like this.
Really? A tree?
Yes, a bunch of trees just saved our lives.
The sun began setting, illuminating the forest with a golden aura. Jacob knew he had to backtrack quickly to avoid traveling at night, an experience he wasn't too well versed on. Laura had always loved hiking trips with Jacob. Though they were both novices, it was a relief from the rampaging life in the city. Wrestling over the treetops created a crescendo above them, surrounding the air with falling autumn leaves and branches.
I guess I can't complain too much. You do manage to get me out of the city.
Laura let herself stop for a second and enjoy the scene.
I know I do. It was either that or because I ain't ugly. But I mean, it's your choice though.
Jacob said, struggling to get through some bushes. Laura let out a half smile.
Don't get your hopes up. How close do you think we are?
She asked, watching him cut a path through.
I'd say maybe 4 or 5 more miles.
Jacob said. As they continued, what light was left began fading.
Hey, you remember that girl Mercedes?
Jacob turned halfway around to ask.
You mean Christy?
Wait, what? She told me her name was Mercedes.
Laura grabbed Jacob's shoulder and pointed to a clearing on the right.
Yeah, she tells most guys that's her name. You know, she don't want no scrub.
Laura motioned for his monocular. Jacob handed over the device, not missing a step towards the hill. He brought his pack down, unzipping it.
Oh, so I was a scrub? Ain't that some shit? I thought we connected really well that night too.
Jacob said, bringing out a compass and map. Laura was already halfway up the hill.
Don't worry, someone gonna like ugly one day.
Jacob looked up at her, making a face mocking her.
I think I see the parking lot, and it doesn't look like 5 miles. Some sense of direction you have.
Laura said, holding out the monocular to him. Jacob ran up the hill.
Oh yeah, like your taste in mint is any better.
Jacob said, snatching the monocular from her hand.
You would know, wouldn't you?
She said with a smirk.
Haha, I forgot how to laugh. If this clearing is right here, then we are about, 15 miles.
We're too damn close to just camp. Are you ready?
Laura said, already walking towards the parking lot.
Oi, yeah, let's go.
As they walked, Jacob noticed a sudden light illuminate up ahead.
Someone's still out here.
Laura followed his line of sight.
I don't know why. That's how you end up dead or worse.
She said, shaking her head in disbelief.
Or maybe what we're doing is how you end up dead, and they're the safe ones.
Laura rolled her eyes as he looked through the monocular.
What's your count?
5 miles and about 200 meters. What's wrong?
She asked, confused at his sudden change. Jacob crouched down, still looking through his monocular.
Fuck, we have to get around these people.
Jacob's voice had dropped of any joy.
What do you see?
Laura had followed his motion, setting a knee down to the ground. Jacob brought out the map, studying it.
Jacob, fucking tell me.
Jacob stood back up.
Don't freak out, but they look like they're cannibals.
Laura glanced at the light in the distance and met his eyes.
What? How do you know?
Jacob silently handed her the monocular. Laura took a hold of it, looking in the direction of the light.
Oh shit.
She gasped as she could see 2 men tied up, sitting against each other. Both were slumped in a daze, barely moving. She could see 3 women and 1 child tied against trees.
It's the Macaulays, isn't it? I didn't know they were here. I thought...
No, they weren't here, but after the police made that raid, they had vanished, remember? They had that manhunt and only came up with a few of them.
Jacob was already tracing out a line on the map.
What the hell are we gonna do?
Laura said with concern, looking at the map with Jacob.
We can't play hero. The police involvement isn't happening until we make it back to the car.
Getting the headlamp out of his pack, he flickered a red light on and off.
We have to go around and leave those people.
He looked into Laura's eyes, searching for a reassurance. She nodded silently. The night was near pitch black. Hardly being able to see Jacob, Laura had to hold on to his pack as they traveled. Each step disturbed what silence there was. Jacob slowed his step as they approached a fallen tree. The sudden wind carried a stench with it.
Oh, god damn.
He whispered. The scent hit Laura shortly after, making her repulse. A crumbling of ground caught Laura's attention. She reacted, tapping Jacob's side. He stopped immediately. Without a word, he lowered to the ground carefully. Laura followed his every move, attempting to be just as quiet. Footsteps turned into a steady rhythm against the howling wind.
Left side, 100 meters.
The steps grew louder, closer. Heavy breathing followed with them.
Hey, she went this way!
A voice echoed further away. The steps frantically hastened. Closer, they passed directly in front of Jacob, leading deep into the woods.
Shit! She done got away, Pa.
Catching his breath, he came into view.
It don't matter. She won't get far going that way. Come on, son, let's go eat before we miss out.
Laura could feel the ground shift as a step landed directly next to her. A sudden thump made her heart skip a beat.
The fuck is that?
Laura, run!
Jacob said immediately, wrapping his body around the man's leg. A crack in a bone unveiled a raging scream that shrieked throughout the night sky. Without hesitation, Laura stumbled up, beginning to run, when she felt a grip resist her momentum.
Hey, you ain't going nowhere.
She turned around, being met with a pimpled young face. The boy kept his grip upon her waist as he reached for her neck. She immediately shoved the weak attempt to the side and lodged an open hand into his neck. A gurgled cough forced the boy to drop to his knees.
Ew, bitch.
Move, Laura!
Jacob yelled, running towards her. They both sprinted, leaving the two Macaulays behind.
There, that way.
Jacob said as he moved towards another hill. As they reached the top, Laura looked ahead quickly with the monocular.
We're almost there.
Just as she took a step, a deafening pop echoed around them.
Fuck!
Jacob!
Laura reached for him.
Come on, you have to get up.
She said, searching his pack for the first aid.
Laura, just go. Get out of here. Fucking tell the police.
Let me take a look.
Laura said, attempting to remove his hand.
Go!
He spit out, pushing her back. Laura's face grieved for a second, but quickly she got up, reaching for her flare gun. She handed it to him.
Don't miss.
Her last words replayed in his mind as he watched her run. The throbbing pain in his side burned excruciating every time he took a breath. He gripped the flare gun, shaking as he tried to hold it steady. A frantic rhythm of feet rushed towards him in the black night.
Show your damn face.
Jacob thought to himself. Silence erupted suddenly. Jacob could hear whispers coming from ahead. A piercing burn hit him in the shoulder, forcing him to drop the gun.
Shit!
The two men came up the hill, smiling. Hey, Freddy, you think you can get that girl from here?
Yeah, man, I can definitely hit her. She ain't running fast enough.
A hand covered Jacob's mouth as his eyes widened. He struggled, reaching for the man with the rifle. A rush of wind breezed through. The swaying of the trees rained more leaves upon the ground. Freddy took a deep breath, aiming as steady as he could. He let his eyes focus, and his trigger finger relax. The bullet left the barrel, leaving a flash behind as it cut through the air. Flesh ripped away, and bone splintered out as it entered the target it chased.